What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a long winter, but finally it's springtime, which means two things: massive allergies, and I finally get to work on my car again. So we got some cool videos coming up, both on the BRZ and the Mustang. Today we're answering the age-old question: coilovers or lowering springs? Now, the obvious answer is always coilovers. They're better in every way, shape, and form. Everybody knows that, but not everyone has $2,000 or more to spend on coilovers when they're upgrading their suspension, which is where these guys come in. These are coilovers made by a company called Raceland, and this is their top of the line option. I know some people that might have cringed when they heard that name, but I've had their coilovers before in the past, and I had nothing but good experience with them. Plus, they come with a lifetime warranty, so if one of your coilovers go bad, you could always get a new one. No problem there. So when I was first doing the build on my Mustang, we went with lowering springs, but basically just doing lowering springs is not a good idea because your stock struts are only designed to work with your stock springs, and when you change the spring rate but you don't upgrade your struts can no longer dampen your suspension correctly, and you get a whole bunch of issues, which is what I got. After about 6 months, my car started to handle really badly. My car is leaning to the side a little bit, so if I wanted to do them correctly, I would have to get lowering springs and adjustable struts together, which would cost me a lot more than what I paid for these guys. So today we're gonna find out if a budget set of coilovers are actually worth it, and there's only one way to do that. Let's go install them. All right, as Mighty Car Mod says, first step is to jack up your car. Okay, car's jacked up, wheels are off. We need to take off the calipers. The rotors will make it a little bit easier. So we're gonna take off the rotors, and then we gotta disconnect the strut here, disconnect it up here, which actually requires me taking off the strut tower brace. So an extra step there. And the cool part is we could just throw the new strut right back on without having to disassemble it and everything like we did last time. So yeah, let's do it. Strut is out. Here it is. It's just the stock Ford strut with the Eibach lowering spring. I have a suspicion this one is toast because my camber on this wheel was a lot more than it was on the other side. The second strut is out, and we're ready to put in our next coilover. I'm kind of worried about the height adjustment because they seem really short. They're a lot shorter than those right there. So I don't know what our height's gonna be when we drop the car. We might have to do some adjustment, but that's all right. Let's install these coilovers. So before I install this coilover, I want to adjust the camber first. I had a bit too much negative camber for my taste. This isn't like a stance type car. I'm trying to make it for performance. So I want to add a little bit of positive camber. So what you do is you loosen up these bolts and you move them. If you want positive camber, let's say the wheel is right here, then you put it out towards yourself. And if you want negative camber, then you slide it that way. So let's do that real quick. That's it. Both of the coilovers, at least the front ones, are in. They're matching as far as height-wise. So now we're just gonna throw the wheels back on, lower the car, turn it around, and do the back real quick. All right, so far we took off our wheels. We took off the old struts. They look pretty bent and terrible to me. We transferred over some of the hardware from the old struts into the new adjustable Raceland one. You can see some adjustability here for dampening, and I'm not sure why there's a height adjustment there. I was under the impression that the springs are going to be doing the height adjustment, but guess I'll figure it out as I go along. Now, in order to take out these springs and put in the adjustable Raceland ones, we need to drop the subframe, which requires taking off this bolt and this bolt and those two little bolts. And you have to support it with the jack so it doesn't fall all the way down. Well, as I suspected, I set the height way too high. We're looking at like 4 fingers, and definitely doesn't pass the shoe test. And same thing in the back. So I'll have to lift the car back up and adjust the height all around. But that is for tomorrow. I think I've accomplished enough work for the day. All right, it's a new day, Saturday morning. We got some more time today. I'm gonna play with the coilovers a little bit. I think I set the preload too high, and the car feels very bouncy and uncomfortable so far, so I'm hoping I can solve that. And also, as you can see, we got a little too much of a gap in the front, so I'm gonna drop that. And the rear tires, I'm gonna keep them like that because I'm getting significantly bigger tires tomorrow actually. So that should fill out the gap pretty fine. But yeah, let's jack up the car again and start this again. Okay, so rule of thumb with adjusting preload is loosening this bottom collar right here. I already loosened mine. I'll just take it down a little bit. And then loosening this top one until the spring becomes loose up here. So we want to loosen it. Alright, now the spring is completely loose up here. There's actually space. So now what you want to do is you want to get the spring snug up to the top again. Okay, that's snug. You want to bring this collar up here enough so it's snug against it again. And then you want to tighten this until the space between this collar and this collar is roughly the same width as your tightening tool. So now we have about this much space between it, which is perfect. And it's preloaded. Unless you're a heavy track wizard, I think this preload should be fine for everyday driving. Preload is set and the height adjustment is set. I got exactly 13 threads between the two on both sides. One thing I forgot to do yesterday is put some of this anti-seize lubricant on. Well, actually didn't have any, I had to pick them up this morning, but this is so over time your collars don't seize up. Anyway, let's put the tires back on and let them settle a little bit, and then we're gonna go for our first impressions drive. Okay, so we dropped the car, definitely less of a gap now. Still about 2.5 fingers. Let's go take it for a spin and I'll give you guys my first impressions of the coilovers. All right, so it's actually been 2 days, and I decided to give it 2 days to review these coilovers, and so far so good. I'm really happy with how they turned out. The installation was really easy, and it solved a couple issues for me, especially with camber. Up front, I was able to fine tune and adjust it just how I want it. And my ride height, before it was a little bit too low for me, for my taste, and I was able to fine tune it and get it to the perfect spot that I wanted to. And then the big one for me was the handling. The handling improved a lot. The car feels a lot more stable, and I feel a lot more confident driving it now. So overall, really happy with how they're going so far. The only drawback that I see in these coilovers are definitely ride quality. That's a trade-off that you have to make with these budget-friendly options. When you want better handling and all the adjustability, you won't get as smooth of a ride as you get with stock struts. That's something that you're definitely going to be missing, but for me, that's not a big deal, and it's a trade-off I was personally willing to make for the better handling. But if you're a type of person that values ride quality above all else, then these coilovers aren't for you. But for everyone else, if you want full adjustability and amazing handling, I definitely recommend Raceland coilovers, and I'll drop a link in the description. You guys can check out the prices for your car. That's it for this video. I got a couple more coming at you guys. Thanks for watching. Good luck. Peace.